So, this is try, I think 6 or 7 at this for the intro. So let's try to get it right. But basically what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to show you how I incubate my eggs. I'm going to show you how I set up each egg container, which is pretty simple. I'm not very scientific with it. Then I'm also going to show you how I incubate them in the actual incubator. So, like the complete setup of the inside of the incubator. So basically stay tuned, it's pretty quick, it's really simple. But I just want to tell you right off the bat, a lot of this was learned through error. I'm in Wyoming, and so it's much drier here than everyone else, and I was trying to replicate people from other areas of the country where they've got more humidity than I do. It pretty much failed the first year. I think it was like a 65% hatch rate or 70% hatch rate, something like that. I think it was 70%. And that was not good for, like, it really hurt me. I almost, gave up the whole breeding thing because I was like, I can't even do this. But stuck around with it and, learned from my mistakes. I found out the easiest way to incubate. You have to add a lot of water to the substrate here and figure out a way to keep the eggs dry at the same time. So it's pretty tricky. I ended up figuring it out. Just a little backstory though, the first season, I actually lost. In the first clutch, I had 8 eggs. That was my first clutch I ever got. And 4 of the eggs actually hatched. And the other 4, 2 of them had wrapped umbilicals, and they died from that. And then 2 of them, I think, was just due to low humidity, and they didn't fully develop. They were not really looking like snakes yet. But I think it was the clutch after that, I lost a baby 2, and that was due to humidity as well, same thing as the other 2. And so the first season just did not go well. Learned from my mistakes, I switched it up a little bit, and this next year, like last season, so my second season breeding, I did exactly what I'm showing right now, and I had 100% hatch rate. There was one snake that hatched last year that came out really deformed. I showed pictures on Instagram. I'll find it and I'll insert the clip right now. But that snake, I actually don't even know what happened with that one. That would have been the first, I believe, pastel I would have ever hatched out, just single gene pastel, which I was pretty excited for, but it did come out of the egg, but it died within 24 hours. So sometimes snakes are just weak, I think, and that was more of what was going on there than anything else, because the rest of the clutch came out healthy and ate on the first attempts of feeding them, on frozen thawed rats too. It wasn't even like I was feeding them live. So I'm gonna go ahead now and show you everything. I hope you enjoy. Okay, so it's pretty basic, the way we do our incubation here. Basically all I do is I cut some of these egg crates out. They don't even have to be exact size, just kind of so they can fit inside really easily. It's not too hard to do, but the main part is we just want to add in a nice layer of vermiculite. Now I'm actually making this right now for my Mojave black pastel that's about to lay. So just get it in there, pretty nice. You might need to add more. Now, all the other things I've ever seen online, very scientific with how they do this. Mine is not. I'm trying to just get as much humidity as I can. So I pretty much pour this in and move it around a little bit, and I might need to add a little more vermiculite to this. But basically you just want it solid enough that those egg crates actually will sit on it, and that's kind of it. But I have a lot of problems with low humidity here in Wyoming, and so my first season breeding, I had a lot of eggs that I had to constantly be filling with water and whatnot, and so this makes it a little easier. You see it's actually pretty solid now, maybe a little more water, but it's solid enough now, and it's still kind of muddy as you can see in there. But that's basically all I do, and then I throw the egg crates on top. As you can see, the first one pretty much sinks all the way in. The second one does not. Kind of found this is the best way to do it, but I do that, and then once I get eggs, I'll actually just put in plastic toothpicks and hold them in place on top of that. But I never have to touch this, just close it up, and there's a little tiny hole on this side to help with some ventilation. And these holes on top have been taped shut. This was from another thing I was doing. But basically that's it for the actual egg box. Next part, you just need to put eggs in there. And we'll go ahead and I'll show you the incubator real quick. So now we're inside of the actual incubator. And in here, it's pretty basic. I have 2 feet of 12-inch heat tape running down the back. I have a little tiny computer fan that's sitting up there that's wired just to keep the air circulating in a circular motion like this. And then I also have water bottles in the side door, as well as a big jug underneath. It's a gallon jug. And all that does is when I open the door and close it, it'll heat the area back up pretty quickly so that the eggs don't have to be in cold air for too long. But basically all I do is, I showed you earlier the actual egg box itself. So put the eggs in there, throw a little thermometer on there, which the box is still heating up, so it's at 78 degrees. So throw the little thermometer in there and then put it in the incubator and wait for eggs. And then once you get eggs, you can throw them in there. It'll be, you know, a good 88 to 89 degrees inside that egg box at all times. So as you can see, I don't get very scientific with my egg boxes. It's easiest if I just go with a feel and just get it really wet in that substrate, and then also just put the egg crate on top of it, and then just make sure those eggs stay dry throughout the entire incubation. But the way this worked last year, all of my eggs had enough humidity and enough moisture throughout the year, or throughout the incubation process, to make it to term, and then they turned out really well. All my babies were great, and so that's what I'm going to keep doing this year. Make sure it happens again. You know, if I have another 100% hatch rate, I'll be happy with that. And then the incubator itself, very simple. You know, anyone could pretty much do it. We got that incubator off of, I think it was like a Facebook Classifieds for about $20 for just a broken mini fridge. So you can do it for pretty cheap as well. So I think altogether for that incubator, I spent a total of like 30 bucks or something, because I had to buy the heat tape as well. But it wasn't very expensive. The expensive part is just getting a thermostat that works for it. And that's the part I didn't go over today, but just get yourself a Herpstat thermostat, because with that, they're the most accurate in my opinion that I've noticed. I've tried 4 different brands now, I think, or 5, and I found those are the best. They're also the ones I trust the most for my eggs, so, you know, go ahead and check their stuff out on Spider Robotics. But I hope you enjoyed everything. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I can help you out, or go over to my Instagram and you can send me a message on Instagram. It's also Laveri Exotics, and I can answer any questions on there. That's kind of the best ways to reach me. But yeah, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks.